Hello guys, it's Morse. The reason why I'm making this video is because I want to talk about a very interesting subject. It's a technique that has been found recently, or not really recently, but whatever. It's called, or at least I'm gonna call it instant text skipping. The way it works is that you're skipping items so fast that it almost looks like you're using a turbo controller or whatever. First, we're gonna explain the technique by using a mechanical keyboard. Why a mechanical keyboard, you ask? Because the way a mechanical keyboard works is that your button feels so responsive, and this is actually good for this game. So the way this technique works is that you need to press 3 buttons in the correct order continuously. So you press E for picking up the item, then you press enter to make the text scroll faster, like that. And then you repress E, the third button, to confirm to confirm the pick, I guess. So when you do it correctly, you just do that. Yeah, it does that. It just looks so fast. Of course, you need to practice it a little bit. And this is why I'm making this video, because I initially tried to find a way of replicate this technique using a gamepad. Because it's really hard to do the same on a controller. Okay, let's explain. So what I did is that I use a gamepad, the game accessory, where you can actually map your button. It's an application you can find on Windows Store. It's not that good because the best would be to use a inidle file to remap your button. But yeah, for this video, I'm just gonna use Xbox game accessories. So what I did is that I put my A button on LB. So when I'm pressing LB, what happens here is that you're showing the A button just lightens. Okay. So the first thing we need to practice and do is double tapping. The way double tapping works is that you need to press one button first and then the second one. So the bad thing to do here is do that. Pressing the button almost at the same time or at the same time. If you do that, you can still pick up items kind of fast, but it's not optimized. So what we want to do is delay the A button press, so that you're pressing X first and then A second, like that. So first, try to practice this for some minutes. Just do that. Just practice this. Double tapping. Okay. Now that you got used to do this, you need to, and this is a complicated part, to add a third X button. Like this. You can see. What you can see is that I'm actually adding a fourth input. Like I'm actually double pressing X. So the way I'm doing it, normally you want to do this. This is the correct, and this is good enough if you're doing it really fast and the correct way. But I think like to make it safer, you want to press X a second time. So X, A, X, and X. Like that, you see? And that's good enough. So we're gonna try it. Also, there is another technique. It's Dracula. What Dracula is doing, it's kind of brand. I mean, you don't really need to think about what you're doing, I guess. It's kind of brandless. So you're just mashing X and pressing A at the correct time. But I find it kind of hard to do this. Maybe because I'm not good at doing this. But yeah, it's a mashing technique. But yeah, I'm just gonna show it that you don't really need to exhaust your hands doing this, I guess. it's just better to just 3 taps. 4 taps, I guess. I will call it the 4 taps techniques. Okay, now let's try to practice this. So I advise you to make a savior. First destroy these boxes, and then make a savior, so you can practice. So let's go. I'm not really good at doing it, but that's why I'm still practicing it. But you can tell the difference, yeah. I'm trying to make it look as fast as mechanical keyboard, and I think like it's looking the same speed actually. So if you practice double tapping, you should do that to get the correct timing here. See? Because if you only press X, that does that, I guess. You see? When I just add a button, it makes the text scrolls faster. And then you want to repress X. But you need to do it fast and well. See, if I'm not doing it well, I'm failing it. That's why I think it's maybe a bit easier to just not mash buttons, but time them, like I'm doing right now. I think that just looks fast. So what's my opinion on this technique? I think this is probably one of the best technique we have ever found on this game, to be honest here. Like, we recently found that when you're using the keyboard and mouse, you can do these instant quick turns. But those instant quick turns doesn't save that much of a time. It actually adds up. But I think like the instant text skipping, it's actually the best technique we find because it's the one that actually saves so much time. And I'm gonna explain it why. So I don't want to talk about drama, but I'm gonna talk about someone that used a turbo controller to actually, I guess, illustrate my arguments. So that person, Yushi, is actually a really good runner, and he stopped using he just stopped using a turbo controller. But back then, when he was actually using it because he didn't know if that was legit, that was actually interesting. And that's why I'm making this video, because we can actually try to base on some stuff that happened. That was kind of bad, but we don't care, because right now, it just gives us some arguments to explain this technique and why it's actually good. So when Yushi was actually using a turbo controller, you can tell how fast he was getting. Like, the splits was insanely fast. Of course, I don't think that technique can actually beat a turbo controller, because we are human and we are kind of limited. But using that technique just make it more optimized, I guess. And I think if you do it really perfectly, that you have mastered this technique, which I didn't do. I'm getting in there, but yeah, it's really hard to do it like really perfectly. But if you master that technique, I think you can save probably like over 10 seconds. I would say even over 20 seconds, to be honest. It's just that huge, guys. You can save so much time because there are so many items you need to pick up. So yeah, dozens and dozens of items you need to pick up. So that's why I think it's actually really good in a run, because you can save so much time. So yeah, that's it, guys. I hope you actually enjoy this tutorial. I'm French, so sorry if you misunderstood some stuff I said. Yeah, that was about it. Just for the end of this video, we're gonna keep, I guess, practicing it a little bit. Just doing some 1 minute of practice. remember, I have assigned my A button on LB. Because I think it just feels more comfortable using the LB button as the A button. But yeah, you can give me your opinion on this. What you think it's best. But I honestly think this is one of the best technique that we find. It's actually insane. And when I was running this game, I wasn't using this. So yeah, it's interesting. I'm just wondering at this point what's the next thing we're gonna find. Because this thing to me is one of the best things we ever found. And some people were considering to switch on mechanical keyboard and mouse, but I'm gonna tell to these guys, maybe you shouldn't, because you became good using a controller, and you already know that you can actually get so much better, and that you don't necessarily need to switch on keyboard and mouse yet. If you do like that, you should be able to compete against keyboard and mouse, I would say. I really like this technique. Okay, that's done. That's it. I hope you enjoy, guys, and yeah, thank you for watching.